Hi, ladies.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
That moment of composure after all that festivity, the jocularity that happens right before we go live.
The pre-show.
Yes, the pre-show. We really should start recording the pre-show just for its bloopers, and we could put out little snippets and entertain the people.
I'm there for it. I am so there for that. But everybody, welcome, whether you're watching us live or catching us on the replay. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for the first official Cards and Stars segment for 2024, looking at the Spring Equinox and all the fun energies that will be prevailing and moving through our lives for this spring season. And honestly, I think I'm barely ready for January 2024. Forget March and April 2024. Just saying.
It does seem like it's in fast forward a little bit, like fast forward. Oof.
Yes.
Well, all planets are direct, so it's all systems go, and it's like time. Like it's like, man, we're already in the middle of the month. Man, we're already here. We're already here.
Yeah.
Okay. All systems go.
But yeah, and just to let people know who may not know, or maybe joining us different times, that these wonderful ladies joining me this evening are Pamela Bell, Tarot Intuitive, incredibly gifted communicator, spirit communicator, and we love having her insight and her messages that are channeled from spirit. And then we have the amazing Nicole Garceau, astrologer, and we love her, and she keeps us on track and reminds us, well, it's because
she knows we feel better about those circumstances.
Yeah. Nicole's favorite thing is to tell us to buckle up. When we ask her how long we have to endure this, she's, oh, just buckle up, baby. Just buckle up.
Spring's going to be fun. Wear your seatbelts. Remember your safety rules.
Keep your hands inside the ride at all times.
You must be this high to ride this ride. Yes.
I like that one. You must be that high. That's a good one. I like that one. Oh, good God.
Okay, so what we do have coming up very soon is, of course, we mentioned it. It's what our title is the Spring Equinox. So, Nicole, what people can be expecting, for this time frame, the 21st, the Spring Equinox. What is going to be knocking our socks off this week, this next week?
Well, it's gonna start off with a bang, and not so much a bang, because this Friday, Mars moves into Pisces. Mars, planet of action, adrenaline, let's go, goes into Pisces. We're like, I want to rest. I want to sleep. I want to get away. I want to escape. So you got those two conflicting energies. So yeah. So if you're lacking some mojo, that in a certain area of life, right? So wherever Pisces is found in your chart, that's where you would be more. You tend to go just surrender. Actually, you know what? That's exactly what's going to end up happening, is that you're just going to, to heck with it. Whatever happens. And that's the action that'll be taken there, because it's not so much of a retreat energy, because we also have the lunar eclipse, not far after. And yeah. And the act, and it's funny because the timing of Mars going into Pisces is perfect, because this lunar eclipse is in beautiful harmony to the planet Pluto, and that's all about transformation, purging, empowerment, letting go. It also shows the underbelly, right? It shows the underbelly, say, this is not serving you anymore, kind of things, just so you can expose it, deal with it, release it. So yeah, and it's in the sign of Libra. So
yeah, what I'm feeling for this equinox in particular, so as we're stepping into spring, is that I'm really feeling this, like those energies of of personal growth, and that surrender. And within that surrender, it's not that giving up surrender. It is that allowing, right? That acceptance and allowing. And with that comes a lot of trust too, to really step into that level of surrender where we can allow things to be open, right? So we can see what's coming towards us.
Mm-hmm.
And so Pamela, I'm wondering, could you pull maybe a card or two about energies that can help people support that? Because that can be a scary thing, just getting to that point of just, all right, whatever it is going to be it. What can support us to that surrender, right? As we step into the transformation?
It's so good. It is the King of Cups. So that's water. Hello, it's the feelings. Cups are your feelings in the tarot. So this is mastery, and there's a lot of water in this card. This is mastery over your emotions. Allowing all of them. They are all equal. Good, bad, ugly, painful. They're all equal because they are beautiful messengers that highlight areas of our life, our psyche, that need attention and letting go. Because the King of Cups is master of the emotions, like emotional intelligence, emotional integrity, but not swept away or flattened by emotions. Okay, so it is an empowering time where you get to, you should. So I'm trying to use all these powerful words because you get to practice how to do this better. You get to practice letting things go. If it's not an emotion, if it's not a situation that requires a big response, it's not worth your time. It's not worth your time. Okay. And then we get the beautiful 5 of Wands, which 5 of Wands, in this instance, it really feels like avoid conflict. just don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That fight, that conflict is just not going to be worth it at this time. So it's going back to what Nicole was mentioning of that surrender. Just surrender. I'm going to avoid that mess. What is my favorite saying? One of my favorite sayings from one of these oracle decks. It's not a new one, but it's not my circus, not my monkeys.
Well, and the thing is too is that, like, it's kind of ironic how the timing of it all is, because it's a lunar eclipse is the full moon, right?
Yeah.
And Mars just moved into Pisces. Now, get this. What is a full moon? A full moon is when the sun and the moon are opposite each other.
Yeah. So
if the moon is in Aries, the sun is in, if the moon is in Libra, the sun, is in Aries.
And the opposite.
And so what happens is that when we have a lunar eclipse, we really pay attention. These are the two luminaries, where the rulers of those signs are. Mars just moved into Pisces, and the ruler of Libra is Venus. Venus is in Pisces. Mm-hmm. So that Piscean energy, that's the backdrop of this lunar eclipse, is strong. So, and with Libra, it's all about relationships. It's about, being social, but it's also creative energy. It's art, it's beauty. Yeah. And Pisces is creativity and the imagination at its finest too.
Yeah.
So
it's the big dreams.
The big dreams.
Yeah. Big dreams, not little dreams, big dreams.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the big dreams. I think that when we talk about eclipse season, you'll hear a lot of astrologers talking about, it's going to be affecting what's going on in your north node and your south node. And how does each eclipse, whether it's a solar or lunar eclipse, influence or affect our north or south node? And could you give us a brief explanation of what each node is, or how people could see that represented, or kind of experienced in their lives?
Well, people get a little bit confused with that. So what happens is that we have our natal nodal axis, which is, so an axis is just a line straight across the chart. So then you have the north node in a particular area of your chart, and then you have the south node. They're always 180 degrees apart from each other. Now, the north node is not, like a luminary, like a sun or moon, and it's not a planet. It's not a physical celestial body. It's where the moon and the sun cross each other in the orbital path. So that's that point. That point is so fated because at one point, when it comes to the eclipse time, that's where that mark is at that causes the eclipse. So it's like either, the the sun is covered up or the moon's covered up. So there's that point within the orbital path, and that intersection point is where the node is at. So wherever the sun is at in any given year, there is that path, that X marks the point, where our nodes would be at in our chart. Now, the transiting north node is where that's constantly moving. And this is what we're dealing with right now. So as the north node is in a particular area of our chart, we're going to get an emphasis in a certain area of life, not necessarily a north node, unless you have a natal Aries and Aries and Libra nodal axis. Now, when we have eclipses during this time, for those people that have that axis in Aries and Libra, that's usually a year of profound soul growth.
Okay.
Because those nodes are meeting up with your natal north nodes and south nodes. So you get profound growth. But for the rest of us, and even, the people that, do have those, like, let's just say if it's in your 10th house, there's going to be such emphasis on your career and your life path and direction in life within that particular area. And if you trace back every 18.6 years, that north node is always up there. So then you'll notice there's movement towards a career. There's a push towards up here. Yeah. And you'll see that theme repeat itself. And it's kind of like a trick I use, actually. Like, and I'll talk to people that said, "Oh, you're born at da 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 da," and all I have to do, and I can easily visualize the chart as they talk, knowing what their ascendant is. Said, "Oh, at a particular area, you must have had this, or a certain thing happen in this area because the north node was there." I'm like, "Oh my God!" And it's a like, I want to say this loosely, like an easy prediction area, like a little fun and games thing to do really quickly off the cuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, wherever the north node is transiting, there's 100% emphasis in that area of life.
Now, I have a question for the people who are watching, where a lot of the terms kind of can go over our head. Where do people find their chart? When you're talking about their chart, where can they find their chart so they can have a reference point and look to find what planets are playing in what parts of their?
Well, the easiest place to go to is astro.com.
Okay.
Yeah, you need your time of birth though, and like if you don't have it, you'll know what sign it's in, but you have no idea what area of life it's affecting. So if you have your time and location, you enter that stuff into the database, and then it'll bring out your birth chart for you. And then
everybody watching can go peek real quick. What happened 18.6 years ago? What's happening again now? It's going to feel familiar.
Yeah. And you know what? There's a culmination point to every all of that, right? Because like that 9-year cycle, they're in that same axis. They're always in Aries and Libra every 9 years, but the north node, now the south node, because they're always opposite each other, right?
That feels like beautiful opportunities to find balance. And I love that you mentioned a 9 years, because the 9s are going to be big for these eclipses. So it feels like those 9s, that 9-year path is an opportunity to balance things out, to like reevaluate and balance things out again. Get that fair and balanced wherever that's highlighting in your life. So I love that. I'm excited. I got to peek at my chart.
Yeah, you're talking about the 9s, and where we're getting that, for people who are watching, is that we took the numerology for the first eclipse, kicking off the wonderful eclipse season of 3/25/2024, and that reduces to a 9, which in tarot is the Hermit, and of course, then that's all the 9s in the deck. And Pamela and I particularly like 9s. So Pam, talk to us about that.
Oh, that's the 9 of Pentacles, not the Hermit. Put your glasses on, Pam. Oh, they're already on. Oh well, that's the Hermit. So that for the major arcana 9 is the Hermit, and so for this eclipse, like Nicole had mentioned, it is a opportunity for your soul growth, for personal growth. What wisdom is your soul here for? What are you learning? What did you want to experience? And how are you going to present that to the world? Because the hermit ultimately in the tarot, they go to the top of the mountain or into the cave to gain wisdom. And then you're supposed to come back out of the cave or down off the mountain. No, we can't hide forever. Supposed to come back out and share share your wisdom, your light with the world. And the light in the hermit is the star card. That is hopes and dreams and staying connected to that long-term positivity. So I love the opportunity for soul growth, especially as a water sign. Do we want to go through the other 9s real quick, Miss Amber?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so part of that, and then we got four little subsets of that hermit. Part of that is letting go of the 9 of Swords. Now that 9 of Swords energy, I always read that as intrusive thoughts. These are the beliefs or the words or the programming that you have that they aren't true. They're not based in reality. This is unmet emotional needs. This is unhealed trauma. This is that, that 3rd grade teacher that told you were never going to amount to anything. And you remember that. Your body remembers that. So this, whether it was a coach, a parent, a sibling, doesn't matter. What it is it gives us an opportunity for that soul growth to let go of these words, let go of those thoughts, those patterns, because they don't serve us anymore. It's not, there was a time where self-deprecation was considered enlightened or, holier than not. And it is absolutely not true. That's one of the lies. No more self-deprecation because we're all amazing. That's my little mom bit for the day. Sorry, I'll stop. Okay, then we have the 9 of Wands, and that is, it is a 9, so things are moving forward, but it is acknowledging, where are you tired? Where are you weary? What are you sick and to death of? Okay, you can keep going. You have to change it and keep going, but it is just a highlight on what area of your life that you are feeling that burden or that weariness. And you get an opportunity, Spirit's other side of that, of the 9 of Wands, is encouragement. Like, just keep going. It's going to be okay if you just take the next step and take the next step. It's kind of like the ultimate, this too shall pass card.
Right.
Yeah, this too shall pass. And then we culminate into the beautiful 9 of Pentacles, which is, this is our opportunity to upgrade and handle our business, handle our human existence, because the Pentacles are our human life. It is home, it is wealth, it is your health. And this is a card of independence. It's time for to learn the skills you need to learn, stick up for yourself, but take care of things yourself. If you've been, and this is for me, I guess I can say this way. I'm going to learn how to be better at technology. I am going to handle that. I'm going to learn how to upload and do all that techie stuff that I would usually ask other people to do. But it's very frustrating because I have to wait for other people, but then I feel stupid because I should be able to do it myself. So this is that is one little tidbit of an opportunity to be independent, handle your stuff yourself. And it can feel very empowering, which is part of all the 9s, because you're evolving, you're moving forward. And then we get my favorite, which is the 9 of Cups. Implementing all of the wisdom in the 9s, whether it's your emotions, your feelings, your soul journey, your money, your health, whatever, it allows you to move forward as you clear out the energy. You're moving forward towards wish fulfillment. What do you want? What do you really want in all areas of your life? And then move forwards. Take action to go after it, because 9 of Cups is progress towards wish fulfillment. But you got to do this other work. There's a reason. Now, I did not put those in order. I didn't put them in any particular order. I grabbed them in the order Spirit was kind of telling me. And so it's like, you got to do the work prior, and then wish fulfillment starts happening. You start making progress, and then you're happier and there's joy. So there is positive in this eclipse, but it doesn't come without, rolling your sleeves up and getting to work.
It's kind of funny. You mentioned the area, and we didn't even mention this in the pre-show whatsoever. Mm-hmm. In the order that you put the 9s, because the thing is, like, the start of the equinox is jumbled with a bunch of different energies. Like, we've got Mars moving into Pisces, we've got the
Mhm.
eclipse, but we also have Mercury starting shadow. Now, the thing is when Mercury starts shadow, it starts hand in hand with the North Node aligned together. So that's
Boom.
igniting ideas, thoughts, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
something like, foot and mouth syndrome too could be,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? On the other spectrum of things. So what's key there is that, first of all, the lunar eclipse happens at 5 degrees, before I forget to mention that. So wherever you have 5 degrees in your chart, plus or minus a few degrees, that's going to be key. And especially for the cardinal signs, which is the start, the signs that initiate seasons.
Mhm.
And that 15 degrees is where the Mercury North Node conjoin. Now, there's another thing that's happening, is that Venus and Saturn meet up once they're in Aries in Pisces at 15 degrees.
Mhm.
So when you talk about that wish fulfillment, like that's Saturn is makes things real.
Yeah.
And and it's funny you finished with the cups, because it's currency.
Yeah.
So we've got which Venus is, that rules currency. So it's Mercury is just going to be solely into Aries, and Aries is about initiating. But having that retrograde, it's like, okay, let's put some more thought into this. Let's not
Yeah.
be too quick off the cuff. Let's dot our I's and cross our T's. Let's hold back. Let's breathe a bit. But it's also about making sure this is of your will,
Yeah.
of what you truly want. And if it's definitely something that's more personal to you than anybody else. So then once things starts going, then and then with Venus and Saturn meeting up at 15 degrees, adds to that. And so whatever you have at 15 degrees in your chart, that's going to be really highlighted, plus or minus a few degrees, a couple degrees. So those 2 degree points are pretty hot in the first couple of weeks of the eclipse.
5 degrees and 15 degrees. Check those out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a question, and I think that we'll get a little bit clarification also. Because the question is, what does it mean if North and South nodes are retrograde in a natal chart? So what I want to ask is what they're talking about planet-wise, because my understanding is that because they're not an astral body, that they wouldn't be retrograde. Is that correct?
I've got a perfect video for that on my YouTube channel that explains all that, but and which I'll repeat part of that segment here. So I go over the meaning of the different nodes: true node, mean node, north node, south node, all that kind of stuff in that video. Now the thing is, there's what astrologers use mean nodes, which is the averaging out of the calculation of the node. And then there's what's called a true node, which is, they both refer to the north node. Mean node and true node both refer to the south and north node. The true node, you'll see in the ephemeris, goes retrograde a little bit. Why? Because the moon wobbles.
Mm.
So as it wobbles, then, it kind of goes like this, right? So you get that retrograde. It really means nothing. It just takes in that calculation, so it's more precise. And I give credit to Frank Clifford. He's the one that, because I struggled, okay, what do I follow? Do I follow the mean or the node? And they have their preferences, but I resonate specifically with what Frank Clifford taught. And he says the best indicator is the news. And let me tell you, I made some predictions of what was going to happen. For example, vaccine mandates dropping. I said it's probably going to drop when they switch from Taurus to Scorpio.
Yep.
Sure enough, the day of, Boris Johnson announced that they're not going to be doing that.
Yeah.
So it really reflects on the news. And then I've been constantly been paying attention to, the trajectory of the true node ever since. And it reflects the news hand in hand again, in my opinion.
I love
so what, when we say we have that blah, 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 there's so much going on. So we have the equinox happening. We have the lunar eclipse happening on the 25th, and we're going to be starting on the 20th, I think you said, we start the pre-shadow for the Mercury retrograde.
With the shadow starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay, till the 19th. And so what types of things may we be seeing going on within our communities? Politics, yes, but how would that be trickling down to how we see people interacting with each other?
When it comes to Mercury in
the shadow, yeah, in
the shadow,
yeah.
Well, when you talk about foot and mouth syndrome, whenever you see Mercury in Aries, Mercury is a planet of communication, and Aries is god of war, so you got to war words, right? So people can be keyboard warriors, for example. And it's not all bad, right? So like on the worst end of things is that people are be hot tempered, quick to say something without thinking twice, and words cut. That's another thing, and you just got to be mindful what you say, and maybe be more cognizant that, hey, Mercury is going to be for an extended stay in Aries, and words can be taken back. But the thing is, let's just say you say something during the pre-shadow, because the thing is whatever degree it's at, it's going to revisit that 3 times. And if for some of them out there that's what that's how it transpired, then it would be having a discussion, revisiting those talks, you know what I mean, and having a conversation about what exactly was on the underpinning of all that. But and another thing is quick entrepreneurial ideas, starting something new, like, hey, I have an idea, like I want to start something, this and that, or to initiate a new course. Let's figure this out, and then that's where the retrograde season comes out. Do I really want to take this course? And you just start going over the dots and I's, and really doing your balancing the checkbook kind of thing, and just seeing if it's feasible, if it's something you really want. And then as things go direct, you get more clarity on the issue, and then you move forward or you don't. Now let's just say, let's go back to the war of words concept. Let's just say if this happens to be in your 5th house, well, odds are that's going to be with either your teammates or your best friends. And so it's about reevaluating the friendships after that.
This is my favorite card. It says, eat your words. And it is a heads up that be careful the words you put out, because you may have to chow down on those later. So little heads up on think before you speak, just like what Nicole was saying.
But Aries is so willful, right?
Yes.
And it's like people talking over people too. Yeah. That kind of thing that that you can expect as well.
Yeah, when you were talking about, that the initiation, things just igniting or starting, it made me start thinking, going, okay, so this Mercury retrograde is happening during the time of the solar eclipse on April 8th. So although we did not talk about this in our little pre-show, I did the numerology for that eclipse as well. And so that all reduces down to 2. So the high priestess and the 2s, which then that is that balance, is that choices. It is taking that time, Nicole, to think, right? To look at the pros and cons, to look at before moving forward, before opening our heart to something, before we really have think before you speak, think before you act, think before you love, think before everything. But with that high priestess reminding us to trust our intuition during that time, right? Yes. Trust our gut. So, Pamela, can you talk to us about those cards? Do you mind? Even though I did not have you preset the chat.
You want me to talk about the 2s? You got it. The 2s are like Amber said, it's going to give everybody the opportunity to choose, and we all like choice. And when you think you're stuck, you're not. The 2 of Swords, which I didn't pre-pull all those cards out, and I'm not going to shuffle through them right now, but that the 2 of Swords is it's a reminder from Spirit saying, if you can't decide between this or that, there's a third choice. There's a fourth choice. It's over there. It's over there. Think outside the box. Get yourself unstuck. So it's that clear thinking so you can make a clear decision. There's more than 2 options. There's more than 5 options. So just got to think yourself out of that. And it's going to go back with that, with the high priestess, and trusting your discernment, trusting your higher self, and trust that you better watch what you are manifesting up here, because you are, as the high priestess, you are creating that space to manifest whatever is going on up here. So definitely it is a discipline, a nod to disciplining that beautiful mind, and that how we speak to each other and how we speak about our goals, our dreams, and whatever we're working on. And then we get the 2 of Pentacles. That is that practical choice. You can make practical decisions to balance out your home, health, and wealth. You know, whether you're changing a job or starting a new portfolio, hiring, firing, or there's a project around the house, it is making a practical decision, weighing both sides. So tons of balance opportunities happening. And then we have the, what do we got? The 2 of Wands, which is it's beautiful. It pairs beautifully with 2 of Pentacles, because it's where are you going to direct your energy? You know, what is worthy? What is worthy of your beautiful, precious energy? I think a lot of people are going to have some epiphanies on, oh, that relationship, that worry, that politic, whatever is just not worth my energy, my time, my precious, precious energy, which is fabulous, because then you have the 2 of Cups, which is, I'm just going to choose to be happy. I am going to, you know, the 2 of Cups often gets read as new love. I call it new love or renewed love, but it's also a choice just to be happy, to choose you, to choose you, and you have the power. That's the thing. You had the power all along, Dorothy. Choose to be happy. You can't, it's a time, I think it's going to be really big, a time that we don't get to blame other people anymore. It's right here. It's right there. You know? So circumstance, you're not gonna be able to blame your circumstance. It's time to grow up. It feels like a collective opportunity to grow up and level up and just take personal responsibility, because everything is a choice or decision away. A change is a choice away.
Yeah. And I think that for, and Nicole, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that with this, the motion of the eclipses, to me, I made a note about this earlier before the show, that to me, it can be very it's the sudden closing and the sudden opening of doors during eclipse season. Yep. So it could be that, you know, all of a sudden,
very faded.
That, you know, maybe a friendship goes like that. Maybe, you know, a work relationship, all of a sudden you find yourself in a new job. So it's like that slamming shut and opening, and very quickly, but reminding, you know, having those that we always have those choices. Yes. Right. And to lead from our hearts as much as we are able, and be in that place of grounding as we're doing it, because that kind of really quick, especially, you know, if there are things that we have been slowly going, maybe that's really something that I don't want to be part of my life, or to be part of my sphere anymore. Mm-hmm. It's going to go, and all of a sudden we're turning around, we're going to be like, well, oh, wow, okay, but I feel better, I feel lighter, I'm moving, I'm happier, even though the universe, spirit took care of that for me. Yeah.
Well, we can't forget these eclipses are in cardinal signs, right? Like, mm-hmm. and people were saying, like, they're asking me questions before when the eclipses were in Taurus and Scorpio. I says, yeah, well, we got Uranus and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but you're forgetting they're in fixed signs. Fixed signs don't like change. Ooh. So you're getting a brewing, and you're getting like a champagne bottle, and then eventually, you know, something's going to go, yeah, you know, but it's things are going to happen a lot faster. Like you're saying, Amber, you know, suddenly quicking, you know, doors shutting and closing. Yeah. These signs start seasons. We're starting something, we're initiating. And in the solar eclipse, which is at 19 degrees, by the way. So it's basically unaspected, which means it's standalone, shine, and not influenced by any other celestial body. Yeah. It's all about Aries, you know, Mercury's, you know, retrograde in Aries, and it's all about the self. It's about being autonomous, being willful, and you know, it's all about, you know, the personal light, you know, upon yourself, you know, and and it's going to make you think about, you know, like what it is that you personally value. It's the most personal sign of the zodiac.
It's bringing up Ace of Swords vibes.
Absolutely.
Which I am getting, aces are loaded with so much potential. All of the potential for the journey is available in the ace, but it's just potential. You have to decide, you have to choose. You have to do something with it. And the thing that I was getting downloads when I pulled this card when you were talking, Nicole, this is an opportunity for a new start, a new truth, new epiphanies, new ways of communicating. And let's not underestimate the power of that sword to cut out the bull stuff, cut out things that don't serve us. And that can be, a lot of that is going to be here, cutting out, patterns of thought or long held beliefs or the way things have to be done. They've always been done this way, so we keep doing it this way. It is an opportunity to cut that out. It's kind of like freeing. It feels like cutting a cord. I'm getting that image too, like cutting ties, cutting cords, because we're not attached. We don't need to be attached to certain outcomes anymore.
Right.
It's much more open than that. Like there's not. It's just feeling. I just see an expanse when I'm thinking about that. Like there's just so much more than like one or two things. So I love me some Ace of Swords energy for was it the eclipse?
Yeah, and the thing is, okay,
no, the Mercury retrograde.
There's just one caution with this Mercury retrograde,
Mm-hmm.
is that we have a solar eclipse during it.
Okay.
And that's going to be very willful, right? Think about the ram. What is it? It's real, the symbol is the ram, right? And in nature, the ram it's all, 0 to 60, right? Like it sprints, it bolts, and
so yes, because I'm so sorry, pardon me, because this is coming in hot. This is a heads up for everybody. I don't like warnings, but it's a heads up that be careful who or what, who you step to. Because if you step to a ram, they're coming in. They don't say, nah, guy, I'm not in the mood. No, they're like, okay, boom, you're getting the horns. Like, so it's a heads up to like, not tiptoe, but just like be cognizant of the words you're saying, because if you choose a fight, you're in for one.
Yeah, because don't forget, Mercury rules the hands too, right?
Yeah.
Hands, words are weapons, but so are hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the reason why, I say be careful too, because this is also a precursor, because Jupiter goes into Gemini,
mm-hmm.
right? So then, it's so important, given the solar eclipse is in Aries, really, because Mercury rules the lungs, right? Yeah. So when it retrogrades, like, our phones need to recharge, everything needs to recharge, right? Stuff. And so do we. Yeah. So it's time to take a breath. It's so important to take the breath. Ideas are going to be coming strong. The urge to something, let's go. Okay, this is a great idea. Let's do it. Yeah. Breathe. Think this through. Yeah. Because the thing is, Jupiter and Gemini, you're going to want to, sometimes they think, hey, this is a nice miss, but this is also burnout energy. Mm-hmm. When these guys listen to me talk about academic wise, I get to academic status in astrology, you're like, that's Jupiter and Gemini, yeah. Right? So, and what happens is that you can really burned out and overwhelmed with all the information and stuff like that. And, you can get into like information overload and, just having to talk things through, it can get too much, so.
Can that translate into, what I was getting a little download. Can that translate into busy work that's not getting anything done? Like you're just so busy doing a bunch of things that you're not making progress forward on anything that's actually important.
What's that saying there? That slang? Not procrastination, like procrastination, but workcrastination or something like that.
Workcrastination, yeah, busy. It's called busy, being busy for busy's sake, yeah.
Stuff like that. You're going out, you're thinking you're getting things done, but you're not, kind of thing. You're just running around in circles and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, I had a couple things come up that hit me that I want to interject, because first, when you're talking about I have to back up 1 second even before I go on my thought, because we have somebody asking what deck that is, and I'm thinking that they mean the tarot deck. I don't know if they meant the oracle deck. So
this one. The blue one or the green one?
Yeah, the blue one or the green one, Peggy Lou. Let us know. We'll answer that question. So when we're looking at the Ace of Swords, here's what I love about that is that you can't, especially in the traditional Rider-Waite image or in the Marseille image, right? You have the hand holding that sword. So that's us reminding us that we are in charge of that, right? We have that ability to move, how we're going to do that, how we're going to focus our thoughts, what we're going to do with them. And when that card is coming up for you, as we're talking about the equinox and Mercury, the retrograde and Mercury ruling the hands, I just found that a very interesting coinky dink that Mercury ruling the hands, and there's a hand prominent in that card of that Ace of Swords.
Yeah, it's very big in that card, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so she's talking about the green deck.
That and also Mars moves into Aries May 1st.
Oh, as the goddess war is moving into Aries.
As Mercury's finishing its retrograde season, right?
And she said, or both, but yeah. So the human spirit oracle. That's Rockpool?
Rockpool, yes. Yes. Absolutely one of my favorite decks because it gives, real quick for Peggy, it gives you a spanking, but it does it in such a humorous way that it kind of softens the blow a little bit, you know, because it's got humor and you know, a little quirkiness in it, like no strings attached. Isn't that funny?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, I digress. I can talk cards all night, Peggy, so don't get me started.
Yeah, we kind of need that energy dealing with everything we're dealing with. And this is the thing. I mean, we said this from the beginning. We said this in our beginning of the year cards and stars. This is a year everything's happening fast.
Yeah.
All right. So you just have to be ready. And I think that having decks like that put messages forth in that way can be very helpful to us. Yeah. And again, also very helpful to have this astrology knowledge, because all we're doing here and all this talk that we're doing is to help empower people, help people think, because we can't control everything, right? Control is like a fictional thing.
It is.
But we'd like to be able to have some sort of sense about what we're doing. And those reminders of going, oh, okay, I might be feeling I'm being pulled in 20 directions. I feel like a marionette and like all of my limbs are being jostled around by somebody else. But we have some of these tools that help ground us, that recenter ourselves and allow us to keep moving forward even when everything else is going
and give us a sense of understanding too, right?
Yeah, but it's a little validation. I just need, you know, if Nicole says, you know, Pam, you're you know, Mars is in this house and that's what, and I'm like, oh, that I am not crazy, that's why that's happening, or that's why I'm feeling that way. So for me, having this knowledge of astrology through Nicole, because I did not know myself, and utilizing divination and other people's wisdom, it's just validation is the word that comes to mind, where I'm not the crazy one.
Well, and the thing is too, is like if you respect the cycle, that's the best way to say,
right?
Like, especially this Mercury retrograde cycle during a solar eclipse.
Yeah.
When Jupiter goes into Gemini, what it'll do, it's think of it as a tree that's taken root, and then right there it'll start to branch off ideas, expand your ideas and stuff like that. Whereas, you know, you've worked on a foundation on things, and then now you can start to, you know, branch off, right? Because Jupiter expands wherever it's at, but you know, it also, it's, you know, there's a lot of discussions, you know, when it comes to, you know, Gemini, there's truth that comes out, you know, like a lot of stuff in the news, right, and stuff like that. But
how do we get Jupiter out of my appetite? Because whenever Jupiter is playing around in the house of you know, physical body, I'm so hungry. It's ridiculous.
Well, your first house, if it's in your first house.
Oh, like it needs to move already. Sorry, I digress.
That's funny.
Move along, Jupiter, move along.
But before it moves into Jupiter, the show, and we keep this for last, the star of the year is that Jupiter and Uranus alignment in Taurus.
Okay.
April
Ooh.
21st.
In Taurus.
And when
This
is that
good.
again?
April 21st.
April
21st. Okay.
All right. Wow. We've got a lot, folks.
And that's dead on my moon Mars midheaven. So it's at the very, very top of my chart. So it's going to affect me like crazy.
Yeah.
Like I'm not busy enough.
Okay, so we were kind of talking about this in the pre-show a little bit and kind of laughing, but also kind of half serious with that curiosity.
Right.
What does Ohio know? Because we're talking, and this comes from we're looking at the direction, right? That whole transit of the solar eclipse and the
let me
that
pull
it
this
goes
up
through.
on my phone and then maybe
that'd be great. They'll see it great on the phone. Okay, so that's the path of this solar eclipse on April 8th. You can see all the way down through Texas and parts of Maine.
Yeah,
Pamela and I are on the Pacific.
We're here.
Pacific Coast, and we're thinking that's a popcorn section. That's what we're just going to be sitting back eating popcorn, watching what happens. Because as far as we know, Ohio is the only state that's calling in the National Guard to patrol the streets.
Yeah, because
during the eclipse,
right through.
Yeah,
and I want to know what they know. What?
Okay,
Nicole, who's their astrologer? Who is Ohio's astrologer? What did they impart to the Ohioans? I think things like that are fascinating. Now is it something because I don't know individual states' history necessarily very well, right? So
it goes right through Texas too.
Were there things that happened in Ohio that would make them, and I mean them, like the government, right? The Ohio state legislators, whatever, really feel they have to protect themselves or be aware that uprisings may happen during this time? Or have they had in the past when solar eclipses have happened, and because the light, I mean, it's an amazingly liminal time. If anyone's been outside during a solar eclipse, it's amazing. Just everything just gets very ethereal looking, and so do they have a record? Because I'm sure, right? They keep track of these type of things, of crime increasing during solar eclipses. I'm really curious because I have not found an answer yet.
Well, there's certain things that are that are prominent indicators and stuff like that. So when it comes to, for example, Uranus and Mars hard aspects, they're known for accidents, stuff like that, right? And when it comes to crime, you got to look at Pluto, right? Or even thieving, things that go missing, stuff, Pisces, right? So because you got the victim and and stuff like that. So
and I think we were talking about, because there can be that propensity for the foot and mouth, for not thinking before you talk, and or how much of this is just trying to control the masses by instilling fear, right? It's that putting out false information.
Could be that Jupiter Uranus.
How much of that could be astrological things affecting the decisions, the choices of the governing people to act this way? Is my thinking way off that there could be astrological reasons for them thinking that, beyond what could happen as far as clashes or more accidents or things like that, but something really affecting their choices?
There's a two-layer thing. So we look at where it's crossing over to things. So it's going to be more prominent within the US, right? But what we also look at is an event chart, meaning, so solar eclipse, we got it at April 8th. I'm just trying to remember the time. Let's just say it's at noon. So then we we create a chart for that at noon, and then we go to the astrocartography. So where's it lining up? Now I'll show you actually how, what I'm looking at. So where's it lining up, and where are these lines going over? So remember when I was writing articles and I would say, okay, Japan's getting an earthquake during Taurus and Scorpio season, because there's the Neptune IC. Well, actually there was one, a Neptune IC was right on Merit which is a couple towns not far from here, and went over Canada. I'm like, they're going to have a flood. Sure enough, they got flooded. So, and then I can't remember the other, what was going on. There was something up a certain planet. I think it was Pluto on the IC. Yeah, it was Pluto on the IC right through Japan. And it was crossing through India. And so that area was going to be prominent. Like you pray for them, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. But that's where you get the, the microscope, you know what I mean? It tends to be put on on there. So this is the type of chart you would be looking at. So it would create you. So you would go to astrocartography. So, like for example, Iceland right here has a Venus. It's for one of these eclipses. It would have a Venus Saturn alignment right on there. I think it's the lunar eclipse, if I'm not mistaken. So you could probably hear news about some financial crisis going on in that part of the world. You wouldn't think about relationships. Well, actually, maybe Venus would rule diplomacy. Maybe there's some diplomatic issues that's going on.
I think, yeah, well, right. And as you're saying, as we're thinking and talking, I'm realizing too, it's like Ohio's going to probably have hundreds of thousands of people go to there to be able to watch.
Right.
The eclipse, right. So infrastructure, not necessarily set up for an influx of hundreds of thousands of people on top of their existing population. So
okay, but why that state? There's now your question is, okay, why are they not going to Texas? So it goes back to our question before. What is Ohio?
They could be, but maybe not as many people are being drawn to go there.
Oh, true. Yeah.
The card I pull about it is the Eight of Swords.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, so people are going to be, stuck in their head, or there's going to be overreactions. There's going to be people making something out of nothing or amplifying things that aren't real. So yeah, you're only stuck if you think you're stuck with that Eight of Swords, though. So it's going to be a time, encourage people to think clearly. There's power in the pause, and this is a horse term. There's power in the pause. You can the saying with horses is, you can either give the horse the time it needs to think about it or wish you had. So think first before you act. Think clearly. If you're having that Eight of Swords moment where you're just stuck in fear and can't move and think clearly, it's time for a pause, reground, and do something else to kind of shake that energy, which, it's just a choice. Balance, find some balance, make a choice, go do something that balances you out. And that is as simple with Pentacles. It's as simple as putting your bare feet on the ground, paying attention to your breathing, any of those skills. Yeah.
It has a lot of fun. Because the thing is, the only thing I could think of is the Jupiter-Uranus alignment. Now, since Uranus was since it was activated with the eclipses, Uranus was activated there. There's been a lot of farming. Taurus rules the farmers. So there's been a lot of protests going on worldwide with the farmers. Now, Jupiter is going to align with Uranus. Okay. So Uranus also rules food. So there could be a massive disruption in the chain supplies of food. Or
the last people you want to make mad are the people who feed you.
Exactly.
Yeah, or like the food supply, right? So not necessarily the farmers, but maybe, I don't know, maybe something's going to be happening where they can't get into Ohio, or not sure, but you know what I mean? So Taurus rules food, rules currency, rules things. So there could be massive, so you got to think about, okay, what
banking systems might go down, ATMs might go down,
stuff like that, disruption in currency, disruption in the stock market, disruption but it's also liberation, right? So we can't always think negative, but so because I'm just thinking the negative part because of this National Guard stuff, right? So there could be a mass protest of farmers that, maybe it's, that contagion is starting to come this way. So could be that's the unpredictability of Uranus, right? So it's always hard. It was very challenging to give, predictive things, when the eclipses were in Taurus and Scorpio, because they were hand in hand with Uranus.
Yeah. Uranus is the surprise planet. Surprise.
Exactly. It'll always leave you shocked. Even if you have an idea of where it's going.
Okay.
you're surprised, but you're still, you still
Right,
have that element
right.
of shock and surprise to it.
Yeah.
Maybe not as grand as if you're walking blind, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but it's also massive liberation.
Yeah.
It's also, mass awareness, mass consciousness, things like that. Right. So yeah, like a lot of people think, Taurus, because they're looking at Taurus, that Jupiter Uranus alignment in Taurus. They're like, oh, it's like Santa Claus is coming to town, because they're thinking of the money. You also have to see what area of life, it's affecting, right? Yeah. Is it in a money oriented chart?
Mm-hmm.
2nd, 8th, or 10th? Those are your money sectors.
Right.
Stuff like that. But
yeah,
Pam makes note to go check her chart for money.
Oh, you're doing that, right? And I'm like, check Ohio's chart. That's
you know what? And that's another thing, right?
Have a chart? Like, when can you do that for a non-biological entity?
Yeah, there's a chart for the states. Like, one of my teachers, that's what he does. Like, he makes like wild, accurate predictions for the US, right? Because he's in US.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's from the birth of the USA. Mm-hmm. There's a chart for that, and he makes predictions of who's going to be elected, who's not, and what's going to be going on, and all these kinds of things. Be aware this time, that time, and all that kind of stuff.
It's fascinating, and I like that. We're trying to tell people, like, it's not just all these doom and gloom, end of the world things that that could be happening. And I think that people are asking, why do they want to say doing prepper stuff? I'm like, in some ways that can instill fear, but at the same time it's like, better prepared than not, right? And they got to get people in, and infrastructure gets a little messed up for a bit. There's going to be more demands on the grocery stores, on the restaurants. So maybe it might take a couple extra days for food to reach your grocery shelves.
At the same time, people that are worried about the prepper stuff, if you think, I am a Gen Xer, and I grew up, we didn't go to the grocery store. We went to mom's pantry. Dad filled the freezer with, we were on a farm, so we raised meat. He was a hunter, so there was meat in the freezer, and then mom canned everything from the garden and peaches. So we didn't shop at the store. So literally we would do 52 jars of peaches so we could have 1 jar a week till peach season again. So I think this is an opportunity. It's a little heads up for the younger folks that are spoiled by DoorDash and Uber. To, hey, this isn't abnormal. It's more abnormal to go to the store every damn day than it is to have some stuff in your pantry. It's not a prepper kind of thing as far as worry. It's just times have changed so much. I don't think people think about it. Like, no, we used to have food in the pantry for weeks. And I still challenge myself every once in a while. I'm going to see, can I eat out of my cupboards and not go to the store? You get creative. Because that stuff you shove into the back, those things you shove in the back and or in the bottom of the freezer, get to it. So I think it's an opportunity, and it's a little heads up to remind the younger people that you can be prepared without being a prepper per se.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Jupiter also
is a whole big opportunity for things that are coming forth, right? I think there's that for enlightenment, for amazing information to come through, and it's to be aware, be ready to be accepting, like we were talking up at the top of the show. It's that surrender, going, hey, we can't do anything about it. We've done the best we can and no matter what, whether things are coming that are going to elevate us and really push us forward, or things that might slow us down a little bit, we're still ready for that, and we're still willing to accept the gift either way, because sometimes there's a gift in not getting what we want.
Yes.
As much as, oh, hey, I'm so excited, I actually reached this goal. Sometimes,
yes.
So those stops along the way to getting there are filled with wonderful, wonderful opportunity.
This deck there's a card in this deck called Blessing in Disguise. Sometimes those challenges are blessings in disguise. I didn't know, if you've never been shocked, I didn't know I could make dinner out of when I could look in the cupboard and think there's nothing, but I can find something. So it's a challenge. It can be a blessing in disguise. So I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Taurus also rules values too, right?
Yeah.
So like with the Jupiter Uranus alignment, it could be sun shift in values. Because Taurus also rules Mother Gaia, right? So it could be a mass consciousness shift.
Yeah.
When it comes to like our imprint that we have on Earth and stuff like that as well,
Right.
like enlightenment in those areas. But I truly do see, that transit of Uranus going through Taurus as a massive change in values, knowing that we can't continue the way we're going.
I think it's fabulous. I can't believe we've been chatting for an hour.
Oh, wow. Already.
I know.
There's so much going on this spring. April. Woo!
Y'all think the first 3 months were fast? Just wait. Buckle up, baby.
Keep your hands inside there. Oh, good God.
Well, ladies, do you have any, ending parting comments or messages or anything that you'd like to share as we're wrapping up here? Pamela's decks are calling to her.
I think we should close with a card pull.
Yeah, I'm going to pull from one of my new Oracle decks, and I call it my positive only deck. And it really is. Literally everything in this deck is positive, and it's horse themed, so I love it. This is the intuition card. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Yeah, intuition. This is about, and really this is a lot about, okay, people, my friends, ground, take that breath, pause, think, so that you can, find that quiet spot however you can. I tell people to meditate any way that works for you. I don't care if it's a walk in the woods. I don't care if it's, sitting with your little fingers this way and chanting. I don't care how it is, but it's just a little heads up spirit saying, hey, it is going to be rocky. It is going to be fast moving. Just find those moments where you can ground, because you can't, this is the thing, you can't control out there. Your only control is right here. So we can offer that, because then that, when we're grounded and centered and we've quieted our mind a little bit, then we'll get those beautiful little insights that the universe has been trying to give us. The universe is always whispering to you, and we are just so busy 90% of the time. The world is so loud, we don't hear it. So it's a time to get quiet in the chaos. It's time to find those moments of quiet and just listen to your intuition, because your higher self, your guides are, they got us. They got us by our hands. They're here for us, and it's going to be. Remember, this is all a planned progression. That's the words they're giving me. Planned progression.
Planned progression. Love it.
Yeah,
I love it. All right. I want to thank everybody who has been watching live with us this evening. We will be back. Wow, it's going to go fast, right? In a few months.
Yep.
I can't believe it. So talking for the solstice, and that's going to be great. Keep an eye out for Nicole's columns in the Cartomancer, and Pamela does amazing reviews for us and throws in some really entertaining articles now and then for us as well. Please check out Pamela's YouTube channel and TikTok also. Pamela's Intuitive Art. And Nicole's business is co-creating today. And again, thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Pamela. This is always a blast. And you're right, we have to record some of those.
We have to. It's just too much fun. And remember, everybody subscribe to the Cartomancer, because this is where you get all these juicy tidbits from, is the Cartomancer.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night, and we will see you all in June. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Night.